One of the very important lessons that's mentioned throughout Sifrei Chasidus, and especially in Rabbeinu Zal's is that the way Hashem operates, Kaviochel, is that, let's say a person waits. Let's say a person works very hard and they run and run and run, and when they see that they have to wait, they wait. They've done all of that. Now what happens? What happens many times is that Hashem flicks the switch and a million lights go on. The person is given a gift, a bright light that shines for the person that's awesome. And the person is very impressed when it happens. We know, for example, the Jews were in Egypt for 210 years, waiting for a Goyel Tzedek, waiting for their Moshiach to come on his white horse and take them out. And finally, Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron HaKohen show up and they say the right words and they've got everything and they've got the miracles, and they come to Paro and say, we're here representing the creator of the world, the Hashem, the king of all kings. And we're here to take the Jews out. And Paro says, just for that, I'm going to make it 100 times worse. I'm going to make them work much harder. Till now, they had a quota of how much construction they had to do every day, but they were given materials. They were given bricks and what? Now, this quota remains the same and no bricks. Make your own bricks. And he made the suffering much more difficult, and this was only to test the faith of the Jewish people and to test the faith of Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron HaKohen. And sure enough, eventually, Moshe Rabbeinu succeeded after the 10 plagues, after everything, he succeeded in taking the Jews out of Egypt. And we're told that that night, when they left Egypt, there was an incredible, incredible bright light that Hashem revealed. The light that was revealed on the night of Pesach. It's called Leil Shimurim. It's the one night of the year that we don't say Kriya Shema Lamita. We don't say the usual Kriya Shema Lamita. The Gemara says that when a person is going to sleep at night, that's a time when the Sitra Achra, the forces of evil and Tumah, are very powerful. And it's critical that a Jew recite the Kriya Shema before going to sleep with tremendous kavanah. In fact, according to the Sifrei Kabbalah, a person should make sure to be standing when they say the Kriya Shema Lamita. And according to the Sifrei Kabbalah, so I see this, a person should recite the entire Kriya Shema. There are some who only say the first chapter. Our custom is to say all 3 parshas of Kriya Shema, to say it standing. And the Gemara says, a person who says Kriya Shema Lamita with kavanah, the mazikim keep away from them. All the forces of Tumah stay away from them. That consider a person to be much more vulnerable and susceptible to them during the nighttime especially. We know the nighttime is a time of Tumah, Chas v'shalom, all kinds of Tumah can affect a person. But that night, the night of Pesach, there was such a bright light, Leil Shimurim. We don't say the whole the regular Kriya Shema Amita, and we open the door for Eliyahu Navi, and all kinds of symbols of this great light. But we're told that immediately after that night of Pesach, Hashem flicked the switch. Hashem turned that light off. The light went out. And that's when on the second day of Pesach, we start counting Sfira Soimer. We start from 1. Today is 1 day, tomorrow's 2. Showing that we were sent all the way down to the bottom to start from scratch. So the question is, if Hashem sent us this bright, bright light, why didn't He let it stay with us longer? Why blast of light and take it away immediately? And then what? What's the purpose of it, giving us this great gift, if you're going to take it away right away? There are many things to say about this. 2 points specifically. Number 1, when Hashem gives someone something for free, where the person didn't really earn it, the person didn't really take a serious initiative to deserve it, that can't be all good. Just like we find when the Jews went out of Egypt, and we weren't really fully deserving to be taken out. It was an act of generosity on the part of Hashem. It was Isarusa de Leila. We're told that that's one of the reasons for all the many troubles and difficulties and falls that we experienced during the time that we were in the desert. So therefore, the real success and the real true benefit of a Jew receiving light from Hashem is when the Jew works for it. When the Jew does isarusa de lasato, when a person puts in their own effort, trying to work for it, trying to work on ourselves, to purify ourselves, to rid ourselves of our bad characteristics, of our evil desires, and then we earn light, and then we earn more light and more light, then it can be permanent, and then it has no side effects. Like we said before, the negative aspects, the falls and everything that came when the Jews were given a freebie in a sense. So a person would say, if that's the case, why doesn't Hashem just leave it out? Why doesn't just let us do our own thing? The answer is because at certain times we're too weak. Like the person who's in bed, the chayla, who is ill, who if you're going to leave him to his own, if you're going to leave it to him to pull himself out of depression, to pull himself out of unhappiness, to be optimistic, to be happy, he can't. He doesn't have the strength at that time. So he needs Hashem to reach out to him. He needs his friends to reach out to him. Here also, at times, a person needs Hashem to reach out to him. Has to have that isarusa delela. But it could only be just like people come to visit a sick person. The halacha warns, be careful, don't overstay your welcome. This is one mitzvah which has a timer on it. A person goes to visit somebody that's sick. You need to know that it's a mitzvah. It's a wonderful thing for a limited amount of time. And when you see that that person needs their privacy, or they need some space, or you need to know time to go home. So too regarding this light of Isarusa de Leila, it's something special, very good, if it's short. Person gets that blast of light, and here's where the Torah tells us that Avram Avinu says in Pasuk Gimel, Vayoymar, Avram Avinu said, Adonai, he's speaking to the three visitors, but Adonai is also Hashem, my master. Im no motzosi chen b'einecha. If you really like me, al no sa'avor me'al avdecha. Don't leave me. Don't go away. And Rabbi Nosson says this is going back to the Vayera El of Hashem. Avram Avinu said, Hashem, you revealed yourself to me. You sent me this Isarusa de Leila. I know that it's only temporary. I know that it has to go away. But don't let it go away completely. Leave me with a reshimu. Leave me a little bit. Just like when you pour oil, quality oil, into a glass, and then you empty the oil out, you can't empty all the oil out. There's a film that's left inside of the oil where the glass holds on to that oil. It retains that oil, unless you really wash it and scrub it, etc. This is Sarusa de Leila. When a person gets that, when Hashem reaches out to a person, or when the tzaddik reaches out to the person, we have to pray at that time, Al noah sa'avur me'al avdecha. Hashem, please don't take it away from me completely. Meaning, I know that it has to go, but leave me with, let me remember it. Let me have some of it to hold on to that'll carry me during those 49 days of the Omer. During that time when I have to climb, and I know I have to do it on my own to a degree. I have to work. But if I'll be able to remember, if I'll have that sweet taste in my mouth of how good it was when I experienced that Vayera El of Hashem, that'll give me the strength to be able to go, to be able to make it to the finish line. Now the Torah tells us that these three visitors that came to Avram Avinu were actually angels. And it was three angels because there were three important missions that they had. What does Avram Avinu do? He puts out a spread for them. Pas lechem, bread, chema v'cholav, butter and milk. Has three animals shechted for them to give them tongue. Each one is given a whole tongue, meat and milk. And he gives them a full feast. Angels come to visit you. The first thing they're interested in is not the cake and the steak and potatoes. The angels don't do that. The Gemara tells us they ate to teach us a rule that when you're in a certain place, follow their customs. Unless their customs go directly against the law of the Torah, depending on where you are, try to accommodate your host. Even if your custom is not exactly that way, if this is how they do it over there, it's derech eretz to follow the custom of the place.